athlete that can really compete in terms of mental toughness and I mean just aptitude for pain and either delivering or taking on than mixed martial artists. I don't know how you do it. I mean, between sucking weight to get down to the weight to fight at, the mental anguish that you put yourself to go through that, but then also the rigors of being in battle with somebody who wants to essentially break your arm or your leg or your ankle or end your life potentially. Mixed martial artists are made of something different. So how did you get into it in the first place?
Well, that was very sweet. What a nice compliment. Thank you for saying about the sport. I got to go back a minute. Now, if somebody wants to pay $2.5 million for some bum's dirty jersey, people do some weird stuff. But to call Brady the GOAT when Joe Montana played football, come on, man. No way.
Are you a Niners fan?
I'm not a Niners fan, but Montana was good, and he was so good that Steve Young had to sit on the bench until he retired. Don't tell me Brady's the GOAT just because today guys can't keep up with yesterday's guys.
You are aside from being an absolute psycho, one of the best watches when you were in the octagon and in any cage fighting situation. You are also one of the best trash talkers, and I think it's important to the fight game, not just from a promotional ability, but do you think there's a little bit of there's doubt, right? As a fighter, I know I felt that as an athlete in a different sport, but like there's doubt, and the only way to get yourself ready to do something dangerous is to make it seem minimal. Like, almost like the F the world attitude. I'm just going to go out there and mash this dude's face and nobody's going to tell me I can't.
I love how you said that. It's us athletes that have lied to the whole world. I mean, the world turns to us for how do you get prepared for battle or how do you have success? The word confidence is the biggest scam I've ever heard. Like some jerk wrote that down in a chapter to sell a book on Amazon for $10. I have never been confident ever in my life. I fought for 6 world championships. I have never had confidence coming through that curtain. And if I did have confidence, I feel like a bully. I don't go pick on people I know I can beat. And I fully agree with you. Like you're filled with doubt. And then you either learn how to deal with that fear or you don't. But I fully agree with you with what you said about slowing the game down and minimizing it. Yeah, I mean, sometimes you don't feel like the toughest guy in the world, so then you got to put yourself in a different position. Well, am I the toughest guy in my street? Am I the toughest guy in my neighborhood? Am I the toughest guy in my house? If this guy came into my bedroom, am I the toughest guy in my bedroom? Like, sometimes you got to put it in a spot where you know you are number one. I like that you admitted that. Yes, fear and doubt is a big part of sport. That's reality.
No doubt about it. I mean, well, plenty of doubt, actually.
Chael, Bellator's MMA's historic 300th card, Pechanga Arena, San Diego, tomorrow night. I mean, this is going to be insane. Super excited about it. Who are you most excited about tomorrow?
Well, there's a match going down. It's Chris Cyborg, the most known and recognizable female fighter ever. And she's taking on Kat Zingano. Cyborg's a 5-1 favorite, and Cyborg is great. But they have a common opponent named Amanda Nunes. And Kat beat Amanda, and Amanda stopped Cyborg. And I just bring that to you because common opponents are very relevant. If you got 2 athletes that have never fought before, but they have fought the same person, you look to that. I don't think that that Cyborg should be the underdog, but to be a 5-1 favorite over Kat Zingano, I don't agree with that. I think that's the fight to watch.
Chael, we went back yesterday, and I watched your Anderson Silva fight from 2010. And I thought you had him in the first round, man. You had him stumbling and fumbling, but not too many people have punched Anderson Silva in the face as many times as you have. Going through your head in that 2010 fight, did you think he was going to get knocked out in the first round?
No, I did not, but I did think in the third round they should have stopped it. The final numbers of that fight was 311 punches from me, 11 punches from him, and there has never been a fight in history that lopsided that a referee did not stop. And I mean, and that's me complaining. Yes, I'm complaining about it, but no, I didn't think I'd knock him out. But the referee should have stopped that fight. That's 311-11. That's ridiculous.
Did you ever have a moment over the course of your career where you were in the octagon? I mean, like an example you just gave, but where you were like, either I'm in danger, like in big danger, and this fight needs to be stopped, or in the case of like a Silva, like you're in this fight and you're brutalizing a guy. Do you ever have that moment where you look at the ref like, are you seeing the same thing I am? Like, this needs to end.
One time ever I did that where I actually was on top of the guy punching and looked to the referee, and his name was Dave. And I even said his name. I said, Dave. And he kind of looked in a little bit, and then it was another 20 punches. And the general rule used to be if you hit a guy 3 times and he doesn't hit you back, it's eligible for stoppage. And 5 or 6 punches, it will get stopped. I hit this guy almost 48 times before they stopped it. And apparently I don't punch very hard. I mean, when the guy got up, he was not very banged up in the referee's defense, but I still felt as though the rule should have been activated.
Yeah, I would say so.
I mean, but the average guy isn't going to be taking a punch. We're just curious, like, if you were to punch, let's say Fletch here on the show. I mean, just one time. I mean, could he take the punch?
I also love Joe Montana. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah. Well, Fletch is a rare animal. I mean, that's a very tough guy. If he knew it was coming, he could probably take a punch. He would not enjoy it, but he probably could sustain it. If he didn't know it was coming, first off, that's a scumbag move. I would never do such a thing. But if he did not know it was coming, that'd be pretty difficult.
Okay. All right. So the three of us, I think we're weighing in at different things now. We've been on this diet. We've been losing a ton of weight. Fletch is in the 230s. I'm about to be in the 260s. Travis, where are you down to?
258.
258. All right. So we're in a room. Everybody here is primed and ready to fight. How long would it take you to get through the three of us? Like, would this be over in a minute? would this take you a little time? How would you go about attacking the three of us to make sure that you walked out and we didn't?
Okay, now is it one guy onto the next, or is it all three at once? Either way, the answer is the same. It's going to be less than a minute, but I'm just curious. Because, Fletcher's the smaller guy, going 230. He's probably a little bit more spry. I'm going to kick him right in the nuts. And the other two of you, I'm very dirty. I'm very, I'm do eye stuff. I'll bite you. Now, if you would have said the octagon, it'd still be a minute. I just would have been nicer about it. But
wait. What if you have Rich right in front though, and then I jump on your back, like Spider Monkey style?
Sounds like a mistake.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. Then it would be Rich that gets kicked in the nut. You would get a reverse headbutt, and Fletch would have an opportunity to think twice.
Yeah,
dude, I would run. I would bounce so
yeah.
fast.
Yeah, but if there's one thing we've learned about Fletch, when he's a super confident guy, and then as soon as he's challenged a little bit, he was like, "That's it, I'm out. Yeah. I can't do it. I don't do Montana." Yeah,
that's all of us though. That's all. We're all like that a little bit, right? Come on.
No, dude. I look here. I'll admit one thing to you because you've been so forthcoming. There have been times on the football field where I've been so scared, where the thought enters your mind like, should I just fake an injury? Like, should I just pretend to be hurt? Because I'm actually hurting the team by being out here.
Coach, my spleen just erupted.
Yeah, I think I need an appendectomy. I think it's time. I think it's one of those things where it's weird to explain, but when you're in physical combat and you feel like you're being jeopardized physically, your brain does some weird stuff to you. It gets you thinking about life a lot differently when you get all the way up to that edge. You know what? Instead of just talking about the fight game, I want to hear about the preparation. Like, a lot of people don't understand. They see, obviously the lights are on, the cage is lit, these fighters are about to go down. But this is months in the making. You're talking about these long 2.5, 3 month camps where you're sucking weight towards the end and you're malnourished towards the end. Like, what is it like getting prepared for a fight? Not the fight, but the preparation for the fight.
Hey, I do know what you're talking about, faking an injury, and we have a lot of that in MMA. We have a lot of guys who have actually called in and not shown up. I was in the back one time with this dude that was petrified. And we were in Chicago, and he wanted to pull the fire alarm. And he was telling me, so what would happen if I pulled the fire alarm? He said, they would clear out this whole building, right? We'd never get back in. And I said, maybe. I said, the move is a bomb threat, though. You got to call it a bomb threat. Now, I thought we were joking around. I thought this was a couple of guys joking around, and he got on the phone with his friend in a different state and was trying to get the address of the building off the internet to have the friend call in the bomb threat. So I do know what you mean about trying to get out of there. And as far as the preparation, man, it is so difficult. It really is. I used to wake up depressed every day, just knowing what I had to do, what the coach was going to make me do. It was 2 to 3 practices a day. And then to a point you brought up earlier, that's when you're pulling weight. You know, when you're in a calorie deficit and you're training to that extent, it's a very difficult thing. And that's when people talk about a window in sports. Within our sport, most guys don't retire because they got old and slowed down. Most guys retire because they don't want to do the training anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, it's very similar in football too. Like I remember feeling athletically like I could still go on. I had a bunch of injuries under my belt by that point in my career, but it really, the determining factor was the work. Like
Sure.
just thinking about getting ready for another season, doing it all over again, starting from scratch. That feeling of like, okay, now I've scraped bottom again. We're into the off season. I got to build myself all the way back up. It is one of the hardest things to do. All right, look, we're not talking to Chael Sonnen for his health. We're talking to him because coming up, we have a pair of tickets to go see the 4 world champion fights headlining Bellator's MMA's historic 300th card tomorrow night at Pechanga Arena in San Diego. Tickets available at AXS.com. And you're going to be analyzing this fight and giving your commentary, Chael. Ben, what do you got?
Usman, can you give us a quick preview of his fight? Because the dude's a beast,
Yeah.
and I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, the guy's absolutely fantastic. He's undefeated. He's the world champion. One thing he is not is the Grand Prix champion. So he's in the semifinals. That's his great motivation to do something he has not yet done. And there's not much in the sport he hasn't accomplished. But he's taken on a former world champion named Brett Primus. And I believe that you guys would have heard of a guy named Michael Chandler. Brett Primus, to win the world title at Madison Square Garden, not only beat Michael Chandler, he stopped him in the very first round. Brett Primus is not an easy day for anybody. The semifinals is not an easy round in any sport. Usman's awesome, but he's going to